Humanity's done a mighty fine job of coming up with different ways of killing people off during the last couple of thousand years, so one can only imagine what kind of weaponry is going to exist in the year 40,000. Of course, Games Workshop has done an excellent job of this with its Warhammer 40,000 universe. It started out as this science fiction themed tabletop war game, but of course it's spun off into a number of different computer games and video games as well over the years. The latest of these is Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War, which is a real-time strategy game that's actually excellent just on its own merits. It also captures the sort of violent and brutal feel of the Warhammer 40,000 universe extremely well, so fans of that universe are going to especially appreciate this game. Even so, if you like RTS games in general, you're going to find a lot to like here. Dawn of War features 4 of Warhammer 40k's best-known factions. They're the Space Marines, who are kind of this rough and tough imperialistic regime. They're the Space Orcs, which are basically these green-skinned savages that want to kill everything in sight. You've got the Eldar, who are your token, enigmatic, misunderstood species that has very high-tech weaponry. And you've got the Legions of Chaos, which are basically warped Space Marines that are purely evil. Each of these sides, of course, has its own buildings and units and upgrades and things like that, but they don't play drastically differently. It's actually not very intimidating to switch from playing one to playing one of the others. So once you learn one side, for instance, the Space Marines, by going through the game's single-player campaign, you can comfortably try one of the other sides and get a good feel for them right away, and yet still have a whole lot to learn in the particular nuances of their battlefield tactics and things like that. In addition, each side has plenty of personality and lots of cool little details, right down to just how they build structures. For instance, the orc structures you'll see literally like tumble out of the sky from orbit as these heaps of junk that then get put together, whereas the Chaos faction summons its buildings through these sort of arcane rituals. So again, the game really captures the Warhammer 40k feel. The units have tons of personality and they're just fun to watch, even when they're standing still, but especially when they're duking it out, laying into each other with really powerful melee attacks or just blasting away at each other from afar. One of the game's big successes is how it translates some of the rules of the tabletop wargame into the real-time strategy environment. For instance, the battles are all about taking and controlling strategic points on the map. It's not that you can just hunker down and farm resources within your base and just turtle up and defend against any attackers. You actually need to go out and scavenge these strategic points and take them for your side, because that's how you get resources in the game, is by taking and holding these points. This game is actually very punishing to players who insist on just being purely defensive, and that's good because these types of games should really be all about the action, and indeed, in a typical skirmish match in Dawn of War, you're going to run into the enemy pretty early on in a battle. Dawn of War also features the concept of cover, so if you put your infantry squads into deep craters, for instance, they'll take less damage. And it also features a morale system, which isn't very complex but works very well, and again contributes to the respective sides a different feel and different strategies. The game's single-player campaign only lets you play as the Space Marines. You play as a Space Marine chapter called the Blood Ravens in their quest to free the planet of Tartarus from basically an orc invasion, but sure enough, the Eldar have shown up for some reason and chaos is lurking around, so it's a good setup basically to pit the Space Marines against its 3 rival factions. However, the campaign is short and linear and just not really the main attraction of the game. You'll definitely want to spend more time just playing skirmishes against the AI, which can be set to just really easy, kind of brain-dead difficulty, all the way on up to insane, where it's really going to hand your butt to you and give you a hard time. But you can save replays, watch what the computer does, learn strategies that way. Of course, Dawn of War also features an online mode, and it's got a nice auto-matching system so that you could quickly get into a match against someone else, and it's got ladder rankings and all that kind of good stuff. It's even got an army painter mode where you can customize the colors of your particular faction. And of course, it ships with a number of different color schemes for all the main factions, so again, Warhammer 40k fans will recognize and appreciate the little details that are found here. So Dawn of War is really just a pleasure to play, especially if you're a Warhammer 40k fan who's also an RTS fan. It's got these great different sides, and all their units are just pretty cool and seem quite powerful. It's got these really brutal attack animations, especially for some of the larger units. You'll see things like the Space Marine Dreadnought just pick up enemy infantry and squash them like grapes and toss them aside like garbage, and just other just really nasty looking moves. And you know, this is a game about warfare and about these different kind of ugly factions killing each other. So it's all very, very appropriate, and it's all quite satisfyingly and gleefully bloody, actually. So Warhammer 40k fans already know and appreciate all of this. If you're not a fan, you're probably going to get a lot out of
My aim shall not falter.
Watching this unfold. The game's got a great interface and an outstanding presentation. Even the intro movie is really, really cool and exciting. So really, this is just a successful RTS game all around and highly recommended.